Do you ever find yourself thinking,
you guys have it all figured out?
Video games can transport you to other worlds. They let you experience things that you could never truly experience in your own life. Like, here I am in GTA 5, where my only car isn't a 2005 Grand Caravan. With all these endless possibilities, why aren't there more games where you can be tiny? I'm really asking you. Being tiny in video games is a rare thing to see, but I don't get why. I've personally never met anyone who wouldn't want to be shrunk down, and I've asked like every single person I've met that question. If you were 2 inches tall, you'd see our mundane world from a completely new perspective. I don't need every game to take place in some faraway fictional land called Boston or something tacky like that. It could just take place at home. I love seeing how everyday objects that we never give a second thought to can be turned into a puzzle or obstacle. Being tiny fulfills that desire that we all have deep down to experience what our toys experienced when we played with them. Ooh, perfect transition to Exhibit A, the Toy Story games, where you do what I just said. This is a pretty weak starting point. These games look as enjoyable as a ketchup sandwich. To quickly go over them though, Toy Story 2 I think does a better job at making you feel tiny. The camera angle in Toy Story 3 just makes it look like a regular licensed platformer. Come on man, what are we doing? This is wasted potential. Overall, this isn't really what I'm looking for. The environments are too small and it doesn't feel like a real house, so this is a pretty bad tiny game. Mario Kart 8 carries on this toy room theme and does it much better with Ribbon Road. There are Mario themed toys scattered along the sides of the track, and it actually makes you feel tiny with the door and furniture in the background, but who cares about all that because Squeaky Clean Sprint does it much better. The whole course is made up of everyday objects you'd find in a bathroom. I mean, personally, I've never seen anyone's room covered with miles of ribbon, so that track just doesn't really make sense to me. This track is way cooler. You go into a sink and then a bathtub filled with toys and shit and then down the filthy drain. Like, why else would you want to be tiny? I only wish this was a game that I could actually walk around in and engage with the environment and the filthy drain, but I'll admit it is a really cool Mario Kart course and I wish there were more like this. Katamari Damacy is a really cool game where you're tiny because as you progress, you slowly get bigger, and the filthy rats that once terrorized you become nothing but a trivial source of fuel. I like this game a lot, not just for the whole tiny thing. It's cool rolling through these houses and seeing what these people have lying around, like push pins and snails. It uses the tiny mechanic really well because the whole point of the game is to gather these tiny things and slowly get bigger. Rather than solving puzzles to unlock new areas, you kind of just get big enough to plow through them. It's kind of like if you were too small to ride a roller coaster, so you go home and devour like all your furniture and belongings so you could be big enough to ride, and get really sick from eating a whole couch. If you like commanding a group of even tinier minions, then Pikmin is the game for you. Quick shout out to today's sponsor, me. I bought this damn cup myself. As the series has progressed, the games have taken you to more familiar and human-esque environments. I swear I'm one of you guys. Gathering everyday items like batteries and chapstick reminds you of your pathetically tiny stature while exploring the wilderness. And that's the issue. I don't care to explore tree stumps and flowers and bugs. Not to get too controversial or political, but those things are boring. Luckily, 4 takes us where I've always wanted to go. Back home, I swear these unfinished beats sound better on my speakers, guys. Ooh. Yeah. Pikmin uses the tiny mechanic well. You need your army of Pikmin if you want to survive being 2 inches tall. And the games use the normal size environments around you in creative ways that actually take advantage of your small size. The game that does the best job of making you feel tiny and small in this big girl city where no one even sees me is Chibi Robo. You're a robot, you're small, go clean the house and do military training. I don't know. The whole map is just a normal house. You have to find your own way up every chair and counter and M&M store display, you know, just normal things you'd find in any old house. All the platforming is done on these everyday items, and the map feels more natural compared to the obstacle hallways that all the platformers were doing at the time. Like, I love Pac-Man, but what is going on in Bedoing Woods? And what creep is naming these places? Progressing through the game gives you access to new rooms in the same house, and also you can unlock things that make traveling through this huge world much easier and quicker. The game is really well designed. There is a surprising amount of detail and places to explore. It's crazy how overlooked this game is. I am part of the problem though, because I've never beat the game, and it looks like the story gets pretty zany later on. Did I just say zany? Yeah, no, there's no cough or anything. I just said the word zany, so I wanted to make sure that wasn't like a symptom of something. Chibi Robo does a great job of crafting a whole experience around the fact that you are tiny, and it's got a lot going on for it for a game that's 18 years old. And also on a disc this big. I love how the house and all its rooms are the whole map, and all the puzzles and platforms and obstacles just make sense. Except these people don't make poop or pee because there's no bathroom to be found in this house. Also honorable mention to Skatebird, where you're tiny and the map is made of normal stuff. And it's a skateboarding game. Damn it, you guys know me too well. This is the best birthday present ever. There are good reasons why games should be small and not big. Games now are so big and detailed that strugglers. Shout out Scott Kramer, I love you, dog. God, wouldn't it be cool if I had a tiny Scott Kramer. Games today are so big and detailed that Shut up. Games today are so big and detailed that developers just can't keep up anymore. Luckily, I have the solution, and I'm not gonna charge you 10 bucks like Masterclass. Unless they want to sponsor me. Make house. You already know how to do that. Add some details, peanut butter jar, that's it. I'm immersed. Another strength for tiny games is that you don't need an invisible wall around the map, since the map can be contained in a house or environment where it makes sense why you can't go beyond that limit. Like, what's stopping Spider-Man from crossing one of these bridges other than words? It doesn't make sense, just don't read them. I know what you're thinking, dude, you're already under 6 feet, you're living the life. But I'm not though. I can't fill a coffee mug with warm water and use it as a jacuzzi. I can barely fit in this damn chair. Another important aspect I want in these games is for them to take place in a modern house or a familiar environment. Like I said before, I don't always want to adventure into some fairy tale world of New York City or some shit like that. I like how these games give a new perspective on our everyday settings, and how the developers find creative ways to make a puzzle or level out of everyday objects. Alright, so what's the deal here? Being tiny is cool. I hope you're convinced. A lot of these games waste the potential of being tiny. They could be normal games and nothing would change. But games like Chibi Robo and Pikmin and some other game you're gonna tell me that I don't really give a shit about take into account the size of your character. They craft obstacles that don't mean shit to you and me but are a huge hurdle for our tiny characters. You're able to explore and find your way through this giant yet normal world. The games need to be designed with this tiny scale in mind. They shouldn't let you forget how small you really are. I would love to see a new Chibi Robo game on modern hardware, or any game like that on a modern console. It would look nuts, that's all I gotta say. Just imagine those hardwood floors with like ray tracing or VR. Dude, VR would be dope. I think that is everything. The summer's coming close to an end, so make sure you get out there and you enjoy this heat while it's still here for 6 more months. But seriously, take a break from social media and screens, all that stuff. It does wonders for your mind and your gaming skills when you come back, inevitably. And if you're big enough to reach the subscribe button, make sure you hit that too, or find your way up there. Make sure you join the Discord too. We got really exclusive cool stuff in there, like Wario gifts. And thanks for watching.